Hello everyone. Today we will be helping someone solve a real life problem. Meet Ethan. Today we will figure out how much water he drank today at practice. Okay? Our question is, Ethan filled his water bottle with 3/4 of a liter of water. After practice, he had 1/2 of a liter left. How much water did Ethan drink during practice? All right, so first we have to figure out what is happening in the problem. Well, we know Ethan drank some water, okay? Well, we see he started with 3/4 of a liter of water, and then he ended with 1/2 a liter of water. So would that be joining or separating? It would be separating because he lost some, okay? He drank some, so he doesn't have the full amount anymore, and he didn't gain more. So we know we have a separating problem. Now what would the starting amount be? It would be 3/4, okay? And seeing 3/4, we know we're working with fractions today, so let's keep in mind some rules we know for fractions while we work through this problem. So for our strip diagram, I'm filling in the hole with our 3/4 fraction that we know how to fill this in based on our problem type, right? So we know this is our hole, and then after practice he had 1/2 a liter left. So we know that is our result. So the thing we don't know is what changed, right? 1/2, and then I'll go ahead and do our question mark. Our change, we're trying to figure out our change. Our problem is a separating change unknown, okay? Now we can write our number sentence that matches our strip diagram. So we have, let's do it this way, 3/4 minus, and did we know how much we subtracted? No, right? That's what we're trying to find out. So minus unknown equals 1/2. Now if we think about fractions, we remember that a fraction is a part of a whole, right? So when we look at these fractions, we have 3/4 and 1/2. Are these fractions part of the same whole? No. So what would we have to do in order to be able to work with these fractions? We have to make them the same whole. We cannot subtract or add fractions with unlike denominators. So to show you how to do this, first I'm going to use an area model, and then after that I'll use the number line. So first we have, let me go ahead and write these above so we know which ones we are representing. So first I will draw, let me do black. Since we have fourths, I will split this square into fourths. And then shade in the amount that we have. So we have 3/4. So I'm shading in 3. Now for 1/2, well, the denominator is 2, we have 1, so we just need to split it into two parts. Let's go horizontal for this one, and then shade in our half. Now, in order to be able to work with these fractions, we have to find a common denominator. So our next step would be to divide each fraction into more pieces dependent on the other fraction on the other side. For example, 3/4 is what we have here. We're going to take our line from 1/2 and add it here. Now we're not going to shade anything else, but you can see that we divided our fraction into more pieces. So instead of having 3/4, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and only 6 of them are shaded. Now for this one, we will divide it into the same 4 lines we have on this square. So as you can see now, our models are the same size. So now we can compare because we are comparing the same whole. As you can see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now we have two fractions with the same denominator. Since we divided this, now we have 4 spots shaded in. We have 4/8. Okay? So we could solve it here, but I also want to show you how to do this with the number line, okay? So for our top number line, we will also represent 3/4, and for the bottom, 1/2. So we split it into our 4 parts, and we know this is our 3/4, 2/4, 1/4, 0 and 1. For this number line, we just have halves, which is 2 pieces. We have our half and our number here. Now we can divide each line the same way we did over here. So when we divided our 3/4, we split it by 1 line. So for each space here, we will also split it by 1 line, as even as you can make it. So then we went from having 4ths to having 8ths. And we can label those 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. So we know 2/4 is the same as 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8. So our 3/4 is equivalent to 6/8, as we found over here. Now we can split the bottom number line also to find the equivalent denominator. So over here, we split it with 4 lines. So now between each space, we will split it with 4 lines. Okay, so well, it was 3 lines, but 4 spaces. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay, because if we drew 4 lines, then it would be 5ths technically. So you got to remember that, okay? So now this number line is eighths as well. So we can label them 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. Oh look, 1/2 is the same as 4/8. We have 5/8, 6/8, and 7/8. So our number lines are lining up. You can see how here 1/2 is 4/8 lines up with the 2/4, which is also 4/8. So if we compare these, say just on the top, so we know that he started with 3/4, okay, and he ended with 1/2, which we now know is 4/8 or 2/4. 6/8, yes, okay. So now we just have to find the distance between these 2 points since we are looking for our change, okay? So 3/4 to 2/4 or 1/2 or 4/8, they are all equivalent. We jumped 1, 2, 8. So based on this information and what we have here, we know that 3/4 minus 2/8 equals 1/2. Now, we also could call 2/8 as 1/4, but since we found the common denominator as 8ths, I chose to leave it as 2/8. Okay? I hope that you found this video helpful and that it was easy to understand.